2. The first scream of the war was not a roar of rage, but the cracking sound of peace shattering beneath Pride Rock. It echoed across the savannah like a curse awakened, carrying fear into the bones of every creature who heard it. No one knew then that this would become the bloodiest war the Pridelands had ever known. A conflict written not only in claws and fangs, but in broken promises, stolen love, and a kingdom that chose power over mercy. Before the land burned, there was balance. The circle of life turned as it always had, guided by tradition, guarded by kings who believed strength meant control. The Pridelands stood tall, lush and golden, ruled by laws older than memory. Every sunrise brought order, and every sunset sealed it. Peace was not questioned, because it had never truly been tested. Then came the outsiders. They did not arrive as invaders, but as survivors. Thin from hunger, scarred by loss, seeking only a place where life could continue. Their presence unsettled the pride. Elders whispered of old wars and ancient betrayals, of times when mercy had invited ruin. Fear disguised itself as wisdom, and caution hardened into cruelty. Amo, the royal bloodline, was a lion born to rule, trained to obey the weight of the crown long before he understood its cost. He learned to roar with authority, to stand unmoved by doubt, to place the land above the heart. He believed these lessons because believing was safer than questioning a world built on tradition. Everything changed the moment he met her. She was not meant to be there. A lioness from beyond the borders, her eyes carrying storms and stories no Pridelands history had recorded. She did not bow. She did not fear him. She looked at him as if he were not a prince, not a future king, but simply another soul standing on uncertain ground. In that instant, something ancient and dangerous awakened between them. Their meetings were brief and hidden, stolen moments at the edge of the world where rules blurred and silence protected them. With her, he felt the crown loosen its grip. With him, she felt the weight of survival ease. Love did not arrive gently. It arrived like fire, quiet at first, then impossible to contain. The Pridelands noticed. They always do. Whispers spread through the pride, carried by wind and worry. A prince seen near forbidden borders. An outsider too close to royal blood. The elders spoke of threats and instability, of how love had undone kings before. They warned him that a single heart could not outweigh the circle of life. Across the border, her people whispered too. They spoke of Pridelands' cruelty, of rulers who decided fate from stone thrones. Devote. They feared she had forgotten where she came from, that love had softened her resolve. They warned her that hearts break easier than kingdoms. When the truth could no longer hide, the land itself seemed to hold its breath. The council demanded obedience. They commanded him to end the bond, to remember his duty, to protect the pride at any cost. He stood silent beneath Pride Rock, torn between the king he was meant to become and the lion he already was. Obedience meant safety. Choice meant war. The first blood fell by accident. A patrol crossed a line. A warning became a clash. Claws met flesh, and the ground drank deeply. Once blood touched the soil, the land remembered every war it had ever known. What followed was not called conquest, but defense. The Pridelands marched beneath banners of honor and unity, convincing themselves that strength justified violence. The outsiders gathered in desperation, fighting not for power, but for survival. Each side told itself the same lie, that the other was the monster. The prince was forced into command. Warriors looked to him for direction, for certainty, for victory. Each order he gave felt like a betrayal of the lion he was becoming. He told himself the war would end quickly. That sacrifice now would save lives later. But war does not listen to intentions. It feeds on fear and grows stronger with every fallen body. She became a symbol she never wanted to be. To the Pridelands, she was the reason for bloodshed, her name spoken with anger and fear. To her people, she was hope, proof that the great kingdom could be challenged. Love stripped her of anonymity and turned her heart into a battlefield others fought over. The war spread like fire through dry grass. Fields burned. Rivers darkened. Cubs learnt the sound of mourning before they learnt the sound of play. Victory tasted like ash, and defeat tasted no different. The savannah, once alive with harmony, echoed with cries of loss, fear. They met again in the ruins of what peace had been, surrounded by smoke and sorrow. There were no promises left to make. Love still burned between them, but now it carried the weight of every life lost in its name. They understood then that the war no longer belonged to them alone. The final command came at dawn. A full assault. No mercy. No retreat. The Pridelands demanded absolute victory, convinced that ending the threat meant ending the war. Standing before his warriors, the prince felt the crown crush his chest. Obedience would mean destroying everything a true king should protect. In that moment, he chose differently. He turned against the system that raised him. His roar cut through the battlefield, not with rage, but with defiance. Warriors froze, stunned by the sight of one of their own standing between death and those he had been taught to call enemies. Lines blurred, loyalty fractured. The war unraveled into chaos. She fought beside him, back to back, trust forged in fire guiding every move. They shielded lives where they could, pulling the wounded from the path of slaughter, standing against both sides when necessary. Thor, the first time, the war faltered, confused by compassion. The final moments thundered with flame and grief. Even the sky seemed to mourn what had been lost. When silence finally fell, the land lay scarred beyond recognition. The Pridelands still stood, but they were no longer the same. The war ended not in victory, but in exhaustion. He lived, but the crown did not. A kingdom that feared love could not be led by one who fought for it. Exile followed, not as punishment, but as necessity. She survived too, carrying loss and hope in equal measure. Together, they walked away from the Pridelands, leaving behind a legend soaked in blood and truth. The bloodiest war the Pridelands had ever known did not end with domination, but with a choice that proved even the fiercest battles cannot silence a heart that refuses to surrender.